So the problem is as well, I think, is that I've put this. I mean, this does seem to be. I think this is giving me the kind of values I would expect it to give. It was also coming back on the debug text to say that the difference was 0, but to be fair, that wasn't being called within this loop, so I don't know where that was coming from. And I want to run this now because I've made it so that it updates within this loop, but this isn't really the loop that I want to test. I mean, yeah, I do want to test this loop as well, but the main one I'm looking at is this one, check ground, and the naming is confusing. I should maybe rename that like check above ground or something. It's fine for now. It's fine for now, I guess. Yeah, so maybe that average calculation was working. Add them into there on this one. Differences calculated. Yeah, because this was where this value was coming from, right? But then this is where things weren't making any sense, right? Because this is when I realized that there was a problem. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If we're using average difference as a distance parameter, then it's not really average difference, is it? What might be a good idea as well, because it's a little hard to control on my actual terrain, because my terrain is somewhat, unpredictable. Also, I don't see anywhere where differences are being cleared. We do, well, no, we do. We make, okay, we declare it here. We make a list of float and we call it differences. Okay, so it's declared there. So let's just see what that gives. Let's see what that gives. This fucking game's cursed. Yeah, but look at what I'm trying to achieve. Like, it's not, to be fair, yeah, it's not like I'm making a match 3 game. There's some pretty advanced stuff in here. Okay. Okay, so we got some difference values back, right? So it's telling me, yeah, this, maybe that calculation's correct. Maybe that calculation is correct. Can we change the, let's change the color of the debug, because it's hard to read, actually. Let's just txt debugging. That's an interesting view. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Director. Okay, I see that much better now. Much better. difference values. So it, yeah, I think that average is correct if it's taking these values, because we go as high as 0.08 in 3 of these fields, 4 of these fields, and then in the other, whatever it is, 3 of them, we're looking at less than 0.1, and it's saying the average difference is 0.05. We'd round that to like 0.06, right? But what is concerning me, okay, and this is what doesn't make any sense, is that, am I right in thinking, actually maybe I'm not right in it, I feel like the average differences as I ascend, the average differences are going up. No, they do. Okay, to be fair, they do go up and down. Okay, so that is an average. That is an average difference then. So it is doing what it was supposed to do. ChatGPT was right. Okay, so well then in that case, I just need to take a different variable. I need to take one of the original distance variables when judging distance to actually know when to climb up, right? Just something I can read. So if I go back to my, yeah, so instead of saying average distance is less than, I need to be looking at maybe one specific ground checker, because it doesn't really matter which one we use, right? So let's just take, well, we can leave that in so we can see our average, right? We can leave that in and we can see our average. And then what I want to add is like distance. But also the higher up we go, right? The higher up we go, so this wouldn't even be a less than, this would be a greater than, right? Because the higher up we go is the trigger for when we want to pull up the rest of the way, right? So because that's above the ground and we're going further and further up, those distances should actually be increasing, not decreasing. So with everything else that I've done in this game, it's always like the distances are decreasing, like counting down to some specific action. But in this one, it's going in the opposite direction, right? But anyway, so if we do ground checker distances at position 0, that wants to say plus, by the way. Then we should be able to use that as our... Let's just take that out for now, because that doesn't make any sense. Because we already say here, average difference needs to be less than the maximum flat difference. This is like our, you know, how flat does the ground have to be before you can stand on it type thing. And that, like, that's not even a calculation I've even begun to try to actually make. I've just entered some value that seems way higher than anything I've encountered up to this point. And it seems fine. Like, I don't think that has to be exact. Like, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we go up a cliff, right? Okay, we just got pulled up. Yeah, I suppose we would now, because now this is making it really difficult. Yeah, this is making it really difficult. Yeah, okay, I need to disable, it's going to make it really difficult. I need to disable this from happening. I need to disable this from happening for now so that I can get these values on the screen to work with. So I'll mute that out. Can't believe I'm locked out of my Steam account. What a joke. It's not my fucking week this week, I'll tell you that. Okay, so I would say a good distance to start, because her hands are practically touching the top of the cliff ledge now. So I would say anything in this region. But I feel like this should be a public variable anyway, right? Yeah, so those numbers should get bigger, and they are. They should be unreadable until the ledge pops out the ground, and then we should... Yeah, we don't want to let... That's when problems start occurring, right? When she starts doing that, see that where she rotates? It has to be less than like this. So, but that should be a public variable anywhere. Okay, so what? Yeah, let's do that actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call it pull up distance. And then what I can do here is I can say and ground checkers at position 0 dot distance no is greater than pull up distance. What's wrong with that? Wait, what? Oh, it's okay. It's ground. Okay, it's ground checker distances. That ground checkers were the controllers. Okay, that makes sense. All right. And now I just need to set that value, right? So let's do another test. I would say about here. It's probably good. Anything greater than this is probably good. So let's just take a little screening of that. So I'm gonna use that there for now. 0.494873. I would say we get any higher than that, then let's do the pull up. All right, let's test that. And then we got that bug to fix. We've got so many bugs to fix. We've got the bug to fix where she's gliding onto the cliff surface, and for some reason she autopilots her way up this cliff, and she doesn't fucking stop. She never stops. I still don't know what the hell that is. That's so weird. Some state is not being updated. Yeah, watch. Oh, she made a liar out of me. Oh, maybe fixing the other bug fixes that bug. Holy shit. Okay, she did autopilot her way up the cliff though, to be fair, which she's not supposed to do. She's not supposed to do that. But yeah, that time she actually finished getting up the cliff all the way. Yeah, okay. Now I would say the biggest issue now is when she pulls herself up, she's not pulling herself up quickly enough. Like in terms of a transform, she's not actually transforming upwards quickly enough. Oh, there we go. Now I think that might have been a problematic cliff. That was so much better. That was so much better. Okay, let's see. So we want to transform her up the cliff quicker, right? So in our climb up routine, we have a speed parameter, step parameter. There we go. What we do is we say step is speed, which I'd set to 1.7. Let's try setting that to 2 for now. Let's see how that feels. Okay, I feel like that was much better though. I'm curious if we solve the problematic cliff, because then we'll know. Well, then we'll know we really nailed it, right? Then we'll know we really nailed it. Okay. Normal cliff. Oh, that was much better. Yeah, she's still doing the transform too late though. Like if we look at the transform. Okay, let's go faster. This really is a trial and error thing, I think. I'm going to try 3 floaties. Let's try 3 floaties. That is, oh, that was so much better. That was so much better. Yeah, let's try this one. Yeah, is that speed thing? That speed thing seems inconsistent. Are we using delta time there? Okay, that's probably why. Okay, no, we are speed times time dot delta time. We are using delta time. I don't know why that's so inconsistent then. Not sure why that's so inconsistent. Okay, it won't let me teleport right now because it's been a bitch. I don't know why it's so inconsistent. Let's just keep doing some tests. This is working well so far. Okay, good. So far, so good. Ooh, okay, we sprinted at this one. I think that's what kind of threw her off. Okay, she kind of glitched there. Yeah, I also need a way to get off the cliff safely, which we still haven't done. Okay. I think we fixed the problem that we had, though. We're going to know for sure in a second. Yeah, okay, she's kind of leapfrogging a little bit too high, if I'm being completely honest. Let me turn up on a 1.7 maybe. Okay. Alright, ultimate test. Are you ready? Problematic cliff. If she gets up onto this problematic cliff, we have fixed the issue that we set out to fix. The problem is, in doing so, we discovered about 6 new problems. love this. It's so fun. Okay, teleport. Okay. Show me. Oh, look, she got onto the cliff so much easier. Fuck! Okay, we didn't fix the problem. Okay, what the fuck is going wrong there? I don't understand. What is her problem with this cliff? Okay, she got up at that bit. Was it here where it dips down? Is that the problem? It dips down at the top. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and now she's trying to. Now she's trying to crawl. Did you see? Did you see? Okay, she can't. Eventually, she figured out that she was at the top of the cliff, but it was too late. Way too late. Yeah. Okay. She's not behaving properly here. So our code says, right? Okay, it's because of distance. Okay, so a distance needs to be greater than 0.494873. Which it is now. So what's wrong is that the average flatness. Yeah, okay, to be fair, that flatness is not good. It is good, like she can stand on it, but I think because what happened is we went around and we tested a lot of flat cliffs, right, when we first implemented the system. And so we set the value of the average flatness to a pretty low number, I think. It should be in here somewhere. Where is it? Max flat difference. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. This is the reason she's not doing it. This is the reason she's not doing it. So we said it has to be at least. It can't be any, like, it, really this number is how wonky is it, right? We said the maximum amount of wonky it can be is 0.44 and this is 0.624. Now, to be completely honest, just as a test, plus I think it would be fine. I'm going to set that to 0.07. But in case things break, I'm going to make a note of that. Okay, 0.07 I said, didn't I? Yeah, 0.07 is still really, really low. It's still really, really low. I'm going to set it to 0.08. Because this has been the bane of my life all this time. I know it has. This is going to solve the problem. Even when I set that value originally, I kind of knew that I was like fucking myself over by keeping it so low. But I was like, it took so long to get climbing to work at all that I think I was just kind of... I kind of didn't want the whole thing to fall apart. You know what I mean? I was glad that anything was working. So I just wanted to keep things safe, I guess. What I considered safe at the time. There we go. Right, she struggled here. Do you remember this bit? Because it's low here. So if you're measuring that flatness, you can imagine, right? Look at this white cube. This white cube is taking 4 points, right, from each corner and figuring out how flat that ground is. It's not going to be that flat. Look at it. It fucking curves up and all kinds of shit. But that shouldn't really matter. Because she can still fucking stand on it anyway because she's little Jackie Chan. Oh! 0.0. Oh, wait. Max flat difference 0.08. Was that 0.09? Like, I don't really think it's going to be that much of a problem having that value really high. Yeah, what I also did is I remember like going around the cliffs and kind of trying to measure what their flatness values were. But obviously I didn't do a very good job. Because this wonkiness is coming back as like 0.12. But we can still stand on that. 0.12. 0.12 should be fine. 0.14 should be fine. She can do all of this. Like, all I'm really trying to do is I'm just trying to make what I'm really trying to do with these calculations is just figure out, is it actually ground that's above us? Do you know what I mean? Because if we're detecting a tree, you know what I mean? It could be a fucking tree branch poking out or whatever. Could be anything. So I'm just trying to like sanity check to make sure that these four values give me something that looks like it's probably ground. It's probably something that I can stand on, right? So I think this is still the problem. I think it's better, but I think this is still way too low. I saw it go as high as 16. Do you know what I'm going to do? I know this is insanity, but I'm going to make it 32. Because if you think about it, right, the first layer of checking that we do, the first thing that has to happen before we even get anywhere near these numbers is those four raycasts have to successfully hit a collider, all pointing directly down above and in front of Sadie. So basically, while she's climbing a cliff, they ain't going to be detecting shit because they're literally inside the cliff. So as soon as they start detecting anything at all, it's got to be that we're near the top of the cliff, right? So the odds of no matter how high I make this number, right? The odds of it being like some untraversable nightmare that we don't want to try and stand on, pretty fucking low, to be completely honest. Pretty fucking low. So like, this is a great example of like where this was like meant to be a safety checking mechanism, right? Of like, okay, we don't want to try and stand on a fucking tree trunk or whatever, you know, whatever it might be. Something's grown out the wall or whatever it might be. Something that's not actually ground. We don't want the system getting confused and trying to stand on things it shouldn't be standing on. And instead, all we've really done is shot ourselves in the dick by implementing that safety feature, because this has been the cause of most of our glitches, I think. I keep forgetting I need to teleport to the Pokemon cliff. Okay. Oh shit, she's stuck in that cube now. She's not. Okay. Okay, she seemed happy with that. Where was that little dippy bit that she hated before? Wasn't it this? It was this, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was this bit. Pretty sure it was this bit. She fucking loves it now. She's so happy. No, it was this bit. It was this bit. This was the bit she hated. She fucking hated this. She absolutely hated this. With every ounce of her being, she fucking hated it. She despised it. She loves this. Okay. I think we fixed it. I think we fixed it. Yeah, okay. Climbing is better than it's ever been before, but we're still not done. Yeah, that's... God, she's so much better. I'll tell you what a relief that is. Oh, she's so much better. She's like 99% good now. She was 90% good this morning. Now she's 99. She's like fucking Jackie Chan. She's like a cliff climbing fucking champion. She's the champion of all cliff climbers. In fact, if her and every Genshin Impact character had a cliff climb off, she'd fucking rip their dick off and shove it up their ass. Actually, she better not be doing stuff like that. She's too young. My point is she'd beat them. That's what I'm saying. Right. Okay. Looking good. Looking very good. But there are still problems. Okay. The next problem is this. Okay. So let's say we start climbing on a cliff. That's horrible, by the way. There's a big gap down there. I don't want to use that as an example. Let's use a safer cliff. Oh, we got thunderstorms right now. Okay, and our sky's black. Yeah, good. That shows that our new sky system's working, because we can't rely on anything, so we have to do everything our fucking self. Okay, so let's say I decide, oh, this happens in Genshin all the time, right? Like you don't mean to climb on something. You accidentally bump into a cliff, and then you're like, oh fuck, I don't want to climb off this. So then you press circle, and this is not what's happening in our game. And what she should do is she should wall jump off the cliff backwards, right? Now I'll admit I never even programmed this feature in. It was just like I'd had enough with cliff climbing at this point that I never really. We try very badly. I think we deactivate climbing. Let's see what we actually do at the moment. Not a whole lot, I don't think. Okay, so we're looking for circle input. Is it not in here? Oh, there it is. It's so... I got so much fucking code in here. This is just climbing, by the way, alright? This is just my climbing script. This game is just like, oh my god. Okay. So if we press circle, we basically call our set end climb routine. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Mate, nice try. Nice try. Whoa. Yeah. If only it was that easy. If only it was that easy. Where did that go? I've completely lost in code now. There we go. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna need a new routine that we call on first. And in fact, you know what? Let's just make this the thing that we do at the end of that routine, so that we have more finite control over it. So I'm gonna call this routine. I'm gonna call this routine wall jump off. All right, so let's create wall jump off. And the last thing we know we want to do is we want to come out of our climb states, right? Exit gracefully from all our climb states. I think this needs a specific animation. Which will need to start from climbing. So we have climbing up, climbing shimmy, and we have climbing left and right poses. Oh god, this is so long ago. This was our old Sadie character. Look at how old this is. This was our old Sadie character. It doesn't matter, it should work. I made sure that her entire bone structure and everything remained the same, so she's I can use this model. Um I can use this model fine. Although I suppose there's no harm in replacing it, right? You know what? I know if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It kind of is broke though. There are parts of it that are broke, but the parts that are broken don't really matter. Because there are basically like clothes transforms that don't exist on a new model, but thankfully Unity doesn't give a fuck. It's like, well, I'll just animate the bones I can find. Thank God. Thank God that Unity works like that. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, because that would have been a lot of work to replace all the animations for this character. Okay, let's see. Oh, these were the little characters I made for my little gacha game I started making. I started making a little waifu gacha game, as you can see. Yeah, if you're wondering what those are. Um, and then this game. Did I not? Did I not save? Oh, Sadie decimated. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got to imagine we're on the wall like this. I suppose the first thing to do is just to kind of like average her limbs out, right? Because she basically, the way she climbs is she moves one limb higher than the other, as you probably gathered by now. Let me just get a better viewport. Yeah, 1280. Okay, that's better. Now we can get a bit closer, see what we're doing. So I'm just going to take this hand and move it to a more neutral position. Bring that one down a little bit. Let's kind of average them out. Because I don't know which pose the player is going to be in, right? I don't know whether they were last... I don't know whether they were last left hand high, right leg low, or right hand high, left leg low. So by averaging the limbs out, it should give a better transition when we execute this animation, basically. Okay, and is she zeroed out here? Yeah, she's zeroed out. Because I'm a good boy. Because I learned long ago. So, okay, if the player presses circle and they want to jump off the wall, and this is where things get tricky, right? Is if I was animating this just as an animation, I would make her jump and fall down because she's supposed to be up higher than the ground. But because she's zeroed out, that's not how Unity does things. Unity is transforming her on a global level, right? So it's all handled by character controller and XYZ coordinates and blah, 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 blah. So what we want to do is we want to call an animation that does what we want it to do, but everything is at 0, 0, 0. So if you imagine that I put a motion capture suit on you and I ask you to go for a sprint and then come back and I get that data from the motion capture and I say, okay, I've recorded the position of all your limbs while you were out going for a jog, but I want you doing all this stood on the spot, right? So all the information that I gathered about you moving from your original position, I want all that gone. I just want you on the spot. That's what we need to achieve. Because what we'll do is we'll apply, because we need to actually move the character off the wall so that it doesn't re-trigger the script. So this is what we'll be doing in Unity, basically. What we'll be doing in Unity is we'll be saying, okay, here's what we want to do to the character. Poof! Essentially, right? And we move the character away from the wall into a safe place to land onto the ground safely. Our animation, however, wants to look like you know, if she literally just does this, poof, you know, looking like a fucking stick, it looks like shit. So that's why we're gonna add a layer of animation to this so that it looks better. I'm wondering if I have something in my library that will be useful. Let's just search for jump, I guess. See what we have. But I have to remove all the positional data from it, basically. I have to zero out. Which can be tricky depending on the animation that we've got. Or I might have to make my own animation. Okay, let's see what we've got and see how closely we can match it up with what we've got. So we've got one called broad jump. She ran out of frames. She ran out of frames, but that wasn't going to work anywhere. That wasn't going to work anywhere. Okay, where was our first animation frame? We need to make sure we remember this as well. Okay, so we're starting our animations at frame 5. Okay, just to give us some safety net. We've got a jump over, jump swing, left jump smash, right jump, jump backwards, dodge jump backwards. This could work. Let's see what this looks like. The fuck was that? Okay, we want to try a different one. That was awful. What kind of animation was that? That's not jumping backwards. No, I want like a Lara Croft style fucking Jackie Chan Tomb Raider stunt action bullshit, you know what I mean? Jump left, jump right. 360, jump 360 smash. Jump down, left, right. Jump running, jump standing. Dodge, archer, dodge, jump backwards. Let's try this one. She's an archer. Oh, no, there we go. That's a bit more like what we want. But again, we need to get rid of that positional data. Because Unity needs to be the thing that actually moves her. Not the animation. She needs to stay at 0, 0, 0. And the problem here is, right, and this is where things get confusing. If you look at her transforms now within the animator, this is where things get really confusing with like bone rigged animation. It says she's at 0, 0, 0, right? Because essentially that's where her root actually is. But clearly she stood over here. That's because the motion capture data included translational data from the original bone root. So she can essentially stray from her bone root origin, which is still over here near this wall. But all of her geometry moves outside of that, which is what's happening in this animation. Now that's a problem for Unity, because what Unity will do is Unity will play this perfectly and put her over here, but she's really over here. So all that's going to happen is when it goes into, say, her idle animation, when this animation's done, it's going to transition and she's going to slide over here to line herself back up to where she should be, right? So, I mean, this would be fine, I guess, if we could fix this by making her walk forward back to her original bone root, right? So she could do this. She could jump off the wall. Yeah. Now that's actually pretty good. I got to admit, I do like that. It's a shame. We could line her up with the wall, I guess, frame by frame. Pain in the ass, but we could. Yeah, I do quite like that, actually. That works pretty good. Yeah, it's just a shame that she actually does physically jump away from her bone root. Um, What I really wanted to do, I really wanted to see. I can't even demonstrate it because I can't get it into my fucking Steam. But yeah, Lara does this fucking awesome thing with like wall jumping and stuff where she'll like, yeah, like basically like jump off walls, right? And especially if you have like a wall here and a wall here. And I always loved this in Tomb Raider. You know what? I want to try and do that as well. Because this whole project is me trying to like do everything that I've always loved in every video game and put it all in one place. So I would love to do that. But yeah, if you have a wall here and a wall here, this is what I always loved in these in those Tomb Raider games. And you could jump onto a wall, and then she would automatically turn around 180 degrees and jump the other way. And if there was another wall for her to jump off, she'd just keep doing that. So you could start here, and you could jump up to here, and then that would jump you up to here, and that would jump you up to here. And it was just great. She just like kind of fucking zigzag up the wall, and it's just so fucking good. I love it so much. So that, I mean, that is actually the animation I would love to see her do when she jumps off the cliff. Um, but I'm not I'm not core design, so I sadly don't have. But we can fake that actually, because what we can do is if we look at this animation, how many frames is it? 60. Let me just set that up. Yeah, so what we could do, the best thing to do, I think, would be, see, first of all, this makes no sense. This is just animation transitioning, right? Everything between frame 1 and 5 is the animation transition taking over. So what it's doing is it's looking at the pose from the start of the jump animation, which is this, and it's looking at the original pose that I left it in. And Unity does this as well, by the way. And it will basically just try to average out all of those bone positions so that she doesn't just jump from one position to the next. There's a slight transition between poses, basically, which is nice. It's better than just jumping from one frame to the other. But this is where a lot of your problems will come in because, like, you know, it's not even really an animation. It's just taking one thing and blending it into another thing. So what we want to do here to fix this is, because we know the start of the animation is frame 5, we know that frames 2 to 4 are transitional frames. If we edit this pause to be her getting ready to jump off the wall, so I think what she should probably do is look behind her a little bit, right? If you were about to jump backwards off a wall, you'd probably look behind you to see where you're about to jump, I would imagine. What do you mean? I mean, you know, that's what I did when I jumped off the wall like 6 times earlier today. I mean, you know, something we all do every day on a regular basis, obviously. So I don't even know why I'm guessing at this point. So now I'm just kind of placing her feet where I think they should kind of be. Oh, we don't have to be exact as long as we're rough. I think she'd be. What happened to her foot? I don't even know what happened to her foot. I don't even think you could physically do that with your foot. I don't even know what you can do. Again, it doesn't really have to be exact. The thing is, right, what you've got to remember is 5 frames at 60 frames per second is a very small amount of time. it happens so fast that your brain can't really understand what it's saying. It just kind of gets a rough idea. But yeah, I mean, the better you make it look, the better it looks, right? So I'm just trying to kind of somewhat make her look like she's about to jump off the wall. It's better than where it was, right? Because she was just kind of half mounted into the wall, right? Also, those arms are way too close to her body. There we go. Yeah, it's all right. She maybe be looking down as well a little bit. Down at the ground, because that's where she's about to go, right? She's about to go down there. All right, so now if we play our transition, it should take her from a climbing pose. Actually, if we look, before we do this, if we look at her wrists right now, they are incredibly uncomfortable. So let's just fix those for her, because I don't want to getting RSI at her age. I don't want to be accused of giving my actors RSI and various injuries. I obviously already gave her a skin condition. I mean, look at the this is what happens when you work for me. You see, I work you so hard. She's only like 8, and already she's got the skin of a fucking 90-year-old because she's not allowed to sleep. She's not allowed breaks. I don't pay her. She's basically a slave at this point. Hello, Hydrate. How are you? You know what that makes me want to do? Hydrate. Let's do it. All right. So I think I'm pretty sure you can't even physically put your feet in a position like that. But you know, we do what we can. We do what we can. I don't know what I'd love to see Lara Croft's animation in slow motion when she does that wall jump, just to see exactly where they placed her limbs. That should be fine. Again, right, it's happening in 5 frames at 60 frames a second. You're really going to see it that clearly. I mean, look at that. You can't really tell what's going on there. Ooh, yeah! She's like a little Jackie Chan at this point. She's great. Okay, so now what I need to do is stop her from actually straying away from her bone root, which is where her point of origin is. Because she's zeroed out and Unity is going to be doing all the movement for her, putting her where we want it to be. I now need to make sure she stays here. So luckily I have a... That's why I put this cube here, so it was representing the wall that she was climbing. So I just need to line her back up with this cube, essentially. In every frame. Now she can jump upwards, that's fine. She can move up and down. But she wants to stay... She wants to stay, like, at this wall. Because Unity is going to be doing... So I'm going to try and find out where she starts to move. And I'd say it's probably about here. We'll put a keyframe in there. Okay. She's moving consistently backwards. I'd say like an even distance all the way up to this frame. So we could probably change this one and move it back to here. And hopefully, if they're all unique frames, at this point I think a head can kind of relax a bit. Maybe bring it this way a bit more naturally. Okay, let's see if that worked. Yep, that's great. Now it looks weird because she stood in the same place, right? But that when Unity moves her off the wall, that's gonna look fine. She also kind of looks like she's... I don't know what she looks like. She doesn't look... Let's just say if you saw a young lady doing that to a wall on your way downtown, you know, you'd maybe call the police, I think. But, you know, it's fine. We can neaten it up. Yeah, I've seen dogs do that. They don't get walked enough. Yeah, no, that's fine. What am I trying to make? How dare you? Trying to make... I've successfully made Yeah, every day I successfully struggle. So I'm making like a game that has a lot of Genshin mechanics. If you imagine, here's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to make a Genshin clone that's also got a lot of Tomb Raider elements, old school Tomb Raider. Um, yeah, it's a lot of work, but we're getting there. But where I'm at right now, basically, I've just finished climbing. I've just finished world jump off does not exist in the context. Yeah, I know. Oh, hang on a minute. This thing is. Oh, it's because it's got to put a capital P. That's why. Okay. Yeah, so basically I've got cliff climbing. I just fixed a bug with that just a moment ago, but there are other bugs I need to fix. So the bug I'm working on right now, I'll give you a little demonstration. So I don't know if you played Genshin Impact, but when you've mounted a cliff and you're climbing up a cliff, you can ignore the boxes above a head. That's all part of the cliff climbing bullshit. Yeah, so if you decide to climb a cliff, for example, so she'll climb a cliff just fine. That's fine. But you might decide when you, like sometimes you accidentally mount a cliff and then you'd be like, oh shit, I don't want to do that. So the idea is that you press circle and she drops down back onto the ground. And as you can see in my game, that's not happening. She just kind of re-grabs the cliff again because she's reading the cliff. It's because of the way. Yeah, anyways, that's what I'm working on now. So I'm doing a little animation for a wall jump off the cliff so that when I want to cancel cliff climbing, like here, I will both call that animation and also I'm going to be moving her away from the cliff and then coming out of the cliff mechanics, basically. So let's get that animation to her now because I think we're good. Yep. Okay, I just noticed something that's wrong. So her feet don't come back to a reasonable foot position, so let's go fix that. So certainly on the last frame, these will want to be kind of flat back down on the ground. A little bit more even. Yeah, Unity should also allow us to. I'll just put them down there. It will do like a transition. I also think her arms should have swung back down by now as well and relaxed a little bit. So if I just swing those down a bit and also take these forearms as well. Okay, let's see that. Yeah, so now the feet just kind of like curl down a little bit too slowly. Yeah, I think a couple of frames is all we need. So by about frame 8, maybe get those feet back. So they look a bit weird. Are they going back? I suppose they would because they had body. Oh, shit. See this here? I always forget to change it. So because I've been doing rotations based on full body, it means that all my work is now undone because every other change that I've made, it recorded those keys in every single body part. So basically I have to fight against these fucking feet on every frame now. It's my own fault. I should remember to do that, but I always fucking forget. Oh, you fucking son of a bitch. This is such a pain in the ass. I really wish this animation software didn't work like that. It's such horse shit. So now I have to like fix these feet on every fucking frame because of the way that works. And it's all because I forgot to change that there. It's too late now because I'd have to start again if I wanted to. And that's what makes this software so shit. It's like, oh, okay, so if I made a mistake like that, my entire animation's ruined. And I have to fight against every single keyframe on every single frame. Anyway, I think that looks okay. Let's see it from a bit further back. Yeah, when we move her back, when we're actually moving her in Unity, it should look okay. Yeah, the feet kind of flip, but I think that's because we're looping it. Let's see it in one play sesh. Yeah, no, they do actually kind of flip a little bit as she's coming off the wall. And that's because I was fighting against those keyframe issues, but it's fine. I think it'll be fine. Okay, let's get this animation to Unity. So I'm going to call this wall jump off. And we will get that into Unity. All right. Shit, why is that set to 30 FPS? How long has that been stuck on 30 FPS? Shit. Okay, well, we've changed it now. I don't know why the fuck that was on 30 FPS. That should have been at 60. Anyway, everything up to this point looks good, so it should be fine. Are you fucking kidding me? It really is one of those days today, isn't it? Wow, now Unity just crashed. Fucking kidding me. Wow. It's definitely one of those days. Okay, well, that happened. Did Steam get in touch with me? I mean, it's Sunday, so probably not. Let me just check my emails real quick. Nope. Yeah, I didn't think it would be that quick. Okay. Yeah, no shit. A default asset was created because the asset importer crashed. You can select the asset and use assets re-import menu to try re-importing it again. Well, I need to change the settings anyway. I can get rid of that one now. Okay, it seems happy now. I was worried it was going to crash again. I was like, oh my god. Actually, this is not a loop animation for once. Shit. Didn't remember my material settings. Should have double checked. Given how long this takes. Also, was there an update for this game? Yeah, it did remember. Okay, that's good. Good, good, good. Yeah, I need to get her animations all put in a folder, really. Let's do that now. Something I should have done a while ago. Sadie. So aiming is Sadie, aim walk is Sadie. Climb left and right is Sadie. Climb up is Sadie. Dive down, dive up is Sadie. Falling is Sadie. I think fire is because fire is... Yeah, fire is shooting her bow. Glide is... Idle is... Jump is... Shimmy left 1 and 2, right 1 and 2 is... Sprint is... Swim is swim idle. Swing bad and good are. Swing idle is. Walk is. Wall jump off is. Okay, there's all of Sadie's animations. Let's put those in the Sadie folder. Okay, I should have done that a while ago. Let's go into Sadie's animator. There we go. The new animation in, which is wall jump off. Okay. Yeah, so we should use a state machine as well here. So let's just go and set that up. So 16 we'll use for wall jump off. Just put that down here because we're running out of space. Okay, nice. Okay, and we're only transitioning from climbing essentially, at least for now. Unity object preview was not disposed properly. That's on you, mate. That's not on me. Fuck off. Don't you shout at me for that. That was your fault. Okay. Where are our climbs? We got climb up. We wouldn't do it from there. We'd do it from climb left and right. Okay, so climb left and right. Actually, climbing is left. So if we drag these down here a sec, so that we can get to it. Shit, did I move? No, that's fine. Climbing, climb left. So climbing is climb right then, I guess. Okay, so we transition from climbing both directions. And I guess shimmy as well. We could be wall jumping from a shimmy. So let's just put our shimmies down here a sec. I really don't want these. I wish I could just hide like lines for specific relationships. Okay, I guess if I move these wider, I should see them better, right? It's getting a bit messy in here. All right, and then shimmy, transition, and shimmy, transition. And then all the way back. Actually, no, that's not true, actually. When we wall jump, when we've wall jumped off, we would probably want to transition into either idle, walk, or sprint. Now, I should be able to just let the idle manager do it. So hopefully I can just transition back to idle. So let's take care of that one first. Yeah, no, that just wants to have exit time. Yeah, so I'll leave it with exit time. No condition needs to be met, but we should probably try and get the animator back to state 0. You know what, I want to set it to state 0. As long as it has exit time, it should be fine. These ones do not want exit time. So all 4 coming in don't want exit time. And their conditions will vary. Well, no, the conditions are all the same, actually. Which is state wants to equal 16. So let's just add that. All right, that should be good. All right. Yeah, our animation states are looking a bit crazy. But I would expect them to. All right, so now what? Well, we need the first thing we should probably do when we go into wall jump off is set our animation state, right? So we want animPlayer dot set integer state to 16. So that will allow the animator to obviously play the correct animation. Do we have a coroutine here? Because I'll want to make sure that that also returns to state 0. So we use IEnumerator as a climb. Maybe I should make this a coroutine actually. Or do we do it in set end climb? You know what? We do actually. I think we do it in set end climb. I just don't know whether there's a delay on it. No, there isn't. Okay, so yeah, it's also because it's not a coroutine. Okay, so I need to allow it to transition into state 16 and have enough cooldown time before we call on set end climb. So because of that, I'm going to make this a coroutine. Why do I keep putting a capital wall jump? Oof! It's basically what happens when you hit something on the way down. Yeah, so we go back to our place where we call that. We now need to call that. Fuck off. Why do you just... if I type 1 quote, it means I want 1 quote, not 2. I fucking hate this thing. Just fucking type what I ask you to, you piece of shit. Stop trying to guess what I'm fucking doing all the time, because you're always wrong. I'm sorry. It's just so irritating. This is why I hate autocorrect. I always turn autocorrect off on phones and stuff. Like, I can't fucking stand it. It drives me insane. It's like, yes, I'm a good speller. Yes, I can fucking type. No, I don't want you to fucking guess what I'm typing all the time and change it, because you always fucking guess wrong. You piss me off. And I type a lot of like abbreviations and words that aren't in your fucking dictionary and shit like that. So just fuck off and leave me alone. Let me type what I want. But this one's a bit weird, right? Because I do love IntelliSense, so I need some level of predictability, because when I call a namespace, for example, I do want IntelliSense to tell me all the properties of that namespace. So in a way, that's kind of like predictive text, but like I don't want it to fucking add extra quotes and try and format my fucking nesting for me and all this other shit. Because like I it always fucks it up. Anyway, whatever. Run over. Okay, so wall jump off. So we set our animation state to 16. We'll also want to yield return new. Wait 4 seconds. And anything is fine. I mean, I don't know, I'll set it to 0.2f. Just so that that has time to fully transition before we go through set end climb, which then puts the state back to 0. So the next thing we want to do is we want to physically move our player away from the wall. You know, it's kind of weird. I actually feel like maybe we should be doing... We'll see what happens. The more I think about this, the more I think maybe we should be doing this after we've come out of the climb state. I don't know. No, probably not, because the issue right now is we try and come out of the climb state, and then the climb state is just re-engaged immediately because we're already literally on top of a fucking climbable surface. So this is all about like creating distance between our character and the climbable object to stop that from happening. And also, like, when we do that, at the end of the day, what's going to be happening is we're probably going to be falling, right? You jump off, if you've been climbing up a cliff and then you decide to jump off, what's the next thing you're going to do? Fucking fall. So, like, it's about giving the character space to fall as well, right? Like, otherwise you just fall straight back onto the cliff that you were just fucking climbing, right? So yeah, this is all about creating some space between the climbable objects. So anyway, so the first thing we need to do is jump backwards, right? So the first thing we need to do is create a direction. Actually, you know what? We'll just create a destination. So if we get the player's position, do I have a link to that, by the way, on a parent level? Yeah. Yes, I do. Good. Okay, so we'll create a vector 3 called current position, which wants to equal player armature. Transform dot position. And then we'll need to create a vector 3 for destination position. So that wants to equal a new vector 3. So let's see. We are doing, well, we can't do X, Y, and Z. Okay, what we can do, if we use the same system we used for raycasting, because that worked really well. Yeah, we can just say, yeah, that was to give a direction though, wasn't it? Yeah, that was to give a direction. So it takes a direction. But if we want to create, I don't know. So okay. It must be plus then, mustn't it? So if we create the direction of backwards in a vector 3, and we take the existing transform, I imagine we could either add some distance. Maybe we would just times. Yeah, I think we would just times, to be honest. But I mean, vector3.down just tells arraycast the direction, specifically as a vector3 direction. So what I'm confused about is how do we use a vector3 direction on an existing transform position to create a vector3 positional direction? Because like it should contain an X, a Y, and a Z anyway. So can we just say, okay. Let's find out. Because we're setting up a new vector 3. But the thing is, right, is if we say, like, we wouldn't want to specifically mention an axis because backwards could include any axis other than Y, essentially. So we don't know which axis. I'm still confused about how these vector 3 directions work. See, I don't know why I'm using raycast. I think I'm confused. It's because I'm using raycast as my template, as my blueprint, right? But that's not how raycasting works. Like raycasting takes an origin point and a direction, not an origin and a destination. But I feel like there's a way to use the direction used in a raycast and apply it to. Let me ask ChatGPT, see if ChatGPT knows. If I need to move an object backwards from its facing direction, can I somehow create a destination vector 3 using vector 3 dot back? Yes, yeah, but you say yes to everything. You say yes to everything. If I said, ChatGPT, may I take a baseball bat, wrap it in barbed wire, and shove it up your ass? It would say, yes, of course you may take a barbed wire baseball bat, wrap it in barbed wire, and shove it up my ass. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. You just don't like saying no. You just make up any old shit just to tell me what you think I want to hear, and I actually want the truth. It's a compulsive liar. I swear to God, ChatGPT is just such a compulsive liar. Okay, well, let's see what it says. Float distance equals 1f. Distance to move backwards. Oh, okay, I like that. But will this actually work? So it's saying take the transform position minus R. Okay, minus. Oh, yeah, because we're. Well, why not just use back? All right, let's see if this works. I'm curious. That is a lot easier than doing it the long way around if it works. And I'm always looking for new shortcuts to do things. So let's say we want to move backwards by one floaty point. We'll leave it at that. So then our destination is transform.position minus transform.forward times distance. Okay, then if we use our move towards because that was a nice little trick in climb up, and that, to be fair, ChatGPT did help me with that one as well, because I fucking suck at Unity transforms. But let's see if we can mash this into something that we can use. So here it's saying while vector3.distance player armature dot transform position, and I assume push forward was the destination, right? And push forward is greater than 0. Actually, this wasn't ChatGPT's code. This was my code. But it contains a couple of little tricks that ChatGPT taught me. var step equals speed times time dot delta time. Now, where did we derive speed from? Again, speed. Float speed equals 3f. It was just a floaty. It was just a predetermined floaty. Who doesn't love a predetermined floaty? I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't love a predetermined floaty, honestly. I think if you don't like a predetermined floaty, there's something wrong with you. I know that's very judgmental of me, but what can I say? Okay, so this would be the destination. And then we just use steps. Okay, shall we see what happens? I can't fucking wait. I mean, I'm on the end of my, on the edge of my universe right now, just wondering what this is going to do. Yeah, we don't need this because, like, if we look at this now, right, we're waiting, like, we're doing a lot of transforms here over a certain amount of time. So by the time we finish doing this, yeah, by the time we finish doing this, I think it will be fine to come back into a reset state, a reset idle state on the animation controller, on the animation. All right, let's see what we get. I'm on the edge of my chair right now. Okay, so let's say we want to start rock climbing, right? Oh fuck! I forgot to turn the oven off. I can't go rock climbing right now. Cancel. You know what? That actually wasn't bad at all. I mean, she jittered a little bit, and now she's in a really weird state, so something didn't get reset. But overall, it did the trick. Kind of. Like, she's completely fucked right now, to be completely honest. Okay. So what went wrong? Overall, though, that went a lot better than I expected it to. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not sure what went wrong, actually. This basically makes her drunk. Did we not come back out of her animation state? Saying she's in her idle right now. Did we not reset gravity? What went wrong? Gravity's reset. I don't know what's wrong. Is player info active? Yeah, player info is active. I actually don't know what went wrong. That one's kind of stumped me a little bit. That worked a hell of a lot better than I expected it to on a first attempt. But then something's wrong after she comes out of it, which is she's eternally drunk when she comes out of it, and I don't really know why. Clean this hierarchy up a little bit. Why is she so messed up? Can't find anything wrong. It's always the things that are supposed to be simple that are always the most complicated. It's like, oh yeah, cancelling a climb. That won't be that hard. Like, you know, because we have routines. Like we handle, like, if you knew, like, the amount of things that happens. So this looks straightforward, doesn't it? It's like, oh, walk up to a cliff, start climbing up it. Oh yeah, jump up to the top. That actually goes through about 6 different fucking routines and transitions, and it's like, holy shit. Like, it looks seamless, but it's really not. And there you go. This routine that I rely on to get everything back to normal, so that she's back to a normal girl again, is called once successfully through that whole transition process that we just witnessed. So when I want to go to it early by jumping off the cliff, okay, it's called twice. That's a problem. It's being called too early then, isn't it, on the first one, probably? Okay, why is it being called twice? So we press circle and we start the core routine of wall, jump, off. Is there any other reference to circle? No. So it can only happen through wall, jump, off. Unless, wait, does that say was pressed this frame? Yeah, I didn't know about this until later. I bet that's it. Yeah, if you do is pressed, you use that for holding a button down. And in the earlier routines, I was programming in my own cooldown system for button presses because I didn't realize there was a different function called was press this frame. But there's actually a function for it called was press this frame, which just lets you do 1 press per frame. Yeah, this was a while ago when I first started the system, so that's probably why. Yeah, everything's back to normal, but now there was an issue with the... no, I think that is the jump off animation. I know what the issue is. I know what the issue is. It's not really an issue. It's just gonna make it look better. Yeah, it's all working now. It just looks like shit. The main reason is because she just kind of floats out, doesn't she? And eventually she drops down. The reason for that is we leave gravity off for that whole thing. Right, so her standard gravity setting is -15. When she's climbing, we turn gravity off because it interferes with our climbing mechanics. So what we need to do is, I'm going to transition it as well. I'm going to turn gravity back on, but I'm not just going to switch it on like a light switch. We could, and it would probably be fine. Yeah, we could actually. It'd probably be fine. Because I think the gravity system takes a while to take effect anyway. But we have to be careful, because if we switch it on too early, what's going to happen? Although I guess we could put like a conditional deterrent in there. But what's going to happen is she'll fall back on into the climbable state, and eventually climbing will activate. It's like if you jumped onto a cliff face, she would just go straight into climbing, right? Because she reads the cliff face, and basically her climbing mechanism says, okay, there's a cliff right in front of me, it's climbable, the player's clearly heading towards it, let's go into climbing. We don't want to, and then you're in an infinite loop, you're just constantly trying to get out of climbing and you're going back into climbing. Now we could put a deterrent conditional in there, or we could just turn gravity on a little bit later, like when she's far enough back away from the cliff to not trigger the climbing mechanics again. So I'm gonna stick to my original plan. My original plan is to sneeze, and then after that, what I'm gonna do is get rid of that because we don't need it anymore. Here we are. I'll make a float called current grav, which I'll set to 0.1, and then I'll say as we're moving the player backwards, I'll say third party controller gravity equals current grav if current grav is greater than -15, then current grav equals current grav minus, we could do like 0.2. See, I mean, I don't know, like if you think about it, right, the game's like running at like 60 FPS, so you've got to think that like, okay, 0.2 factors of gravity in 1 second is gonna become I don't fucking know. Hang on. We're doing it 60 times, right? So it's 0.2 times 60. Yeah, so we get to -12 in 1 second. And that sounds fast, and it is fast, but the whole transition is probably like maybe just a little over a second. It's not very long. So you don't, like, in a way you don't have a lot of time to apply these changes, but also like you kind of do. It depends on how you look at it. Like from the computer's perspective, it's like a fucking eternity. Like 60 loops of your code seems like a lot of loops, but you're doing that in 1 second. That takes 1 second of real Earth time to do. So like, it seems like 60 loops is a lot, but it's really not. Yeah, see, that's what I was afraid of. That's exactly what I was afraid of. So we turn gravity back on, and she's messed up now. Oh, that's weird. What's going on now? She's being sucked back into the wall. That's so strange. Oh, wow. So that condition's still running then? Look at it. It's like she's springing back to it. How is that still running? What's really interesting is climbing's not even active right now, so that would suggest that a coroutine continues running even if its parent script is deactivated, which is interesting. I never knew that. I'm not sure why it was still running though, because it should have reached its destination and given up. Maybe our... What is happening there? Why is her animation speed so fast? She almost looks like she's dancing. Wow, that's really messing things up, isn't it? Okay, let's be a bit more subtle with it. Everything goes great until it doesn't. Okay, so climbing script is reactivated. Now I assume... I think what's happening is what I was afraid would happen. It is we're basically getting pushed away from the wall, but then it's reactivating, it's rechecking to see whether we're entering a climbable surface. Like, here's what happens, right? Okay, this is why this works. This is why this happens. The cliffs are not straight. Okay, so the cliffs are always slanted like this. So the distance here between the player, if you turn gravity on, it takes more backwards push to get out of the range. If you imagine that there's another slope like this, because there is, where the player is reading this slope in front of that slope and saying, if I entered this slope, then I start climbing, because the player is right in front of a cliff. We need to get the player back and down far enough away so that it doesn't intersect this. And the problem with turning gravity back on again is as we're pulling back, as we're pulling the player back away from the cliff, gravity is also pulling down. And so the distance between here and here, it needs to be a much greater distance. So it's about getting the maths right in that we've got to pull the player back far enough away from the cliff faster than gravity can pull us back down, which then gets us closer to the cliff again, right? Because the cliff's slanted that way. Now there is a way to avoid this, and that would be in our initial climbing detection system. What we can do is we can make a... This is a neat way to cheat at everything, really. Do something a bit like this, where we have a climb ending. Okay, we can make a bool and call it cancel climb, for example. And then in our conditions that checks to see whether the player should begin a climb. So we need to find out where this is being called now, because it was a while ago when I set all this up. Is that the only place? On enable. Shit. Yeah. Okay, I don't think we can circumvent this here, because it's another system outside of here that is deciding whether this script should be activated to initiate climbing. There's a few ways around this. If the script's already running though, it can't be activated twice, so we can't initiate a second climbing phase once the first one has begun. So another way of doing it is making sure the script stays active until the player has decided what they want to do. Do they actually want to go back to that cliff and then start to climb it again? Like maybe they just had some trouble on the way up and they want to start again, or are they off to do something else? Before I start putting conditional checking outside of this system, whichever one activates the system, which I would guess is in player N4, let's just make sure I'm right, because that's going to get hairy pretty quickly. Climbing script initialized. Let's put it enabled. Spell initialize. I probably do know how to spell initialize, but I don't want to waste the bandwidth on it. Shit, it's worse than I thought. Actually, that's a good sign in a way. So our script only got enabled once, so it's not what I thought it was. It's not that like climbing initialization is beginning again. Well, it might be to some degree, but it's certainly not happening at the root level. It's happening at a more nuanced level, which is both good and bad. It's good because it means we can plug our fix in to this system directly, but it's bad because it's going to take me a little longer to find out where it's happening. Right, let's just make sure. I don't know what is happening. This is really difficult for me to know what's happening. It was fine until we turned gravity on, right? It was, wasn't it? It was definitely fine until I turned gravity back on. She's turned gravity off. Just to test my theory. I remember it was fine. Because the reason we turn gravity back on in the first place is because she just goes and it looks stupid. So it's like, well, she needs to fall when she needs to be falling off the cliff. So we need gravity back. And then in turning gravity back on, it's like we... Yeah, I mean, it looks like shit, right? But... Yeah, and we turn gravity back on, obviously, when we drop down to the ground. And if she wasn't getting pushed far enough back from the cliff, she would do this here. But there's quite a distance there between her and the cliff. Climbing doesn't initialize. I actually initialized there and made me a fucking liar. Yeah, it shouldn't be initializing that close, actually. What the fuck? Why did it initialize there? Everything's fucked now. She's completely fucked right now. She won't even move. Yeah, that really screwed her up. Is that since we cancelled the cliff climb? I feel like she wouldn't have tried to climb the cliff that close normally. Yeah, because the way... There you go. Now that's perfect where she starts from. Now this time she did pretty much the same thing. She's starting a little bit further back though. But I think it's maybe inconsistent anyway. She is still starting too early though. She's supposed to push against the cliff surface. So actually, I mean, that is a separate bug. Now she's locked out. She can't move. She got confused. So this is definitely an issue as well. Let me fix this issue first, actually. She shouldn't be climbing the cliff that early. Now, this is in player info. Now, remember, right? This stat here, speed, was created specifically to initialize climbing. Because what I did is I said, if the player is asking to move forwards and speed is less than as far forward as they should be moving, then essentially that means the player is bumping into something. And then I do a check to say, is the thing the player is bumping into a climbable surface? If it's true, then initialize climbing. If not, then don't do anything. Now that is the thing that's broken right now, because she shouldn't be climbing. She is climbing before she bumps into the actual cliff. Now it might be that I changed it, because I do remember it being really awkward getting her to climb stuff at a certain point. And I think I did change that, because I was like, okay, it's getting fucking impossible to initialize climbing. But I think I overcorrected, which is making a new problem. And that might even be the reason this other problem is occurring. Right, I need to find out where that is now. So what I do, I know what I'm searching for. I'm searching for is climbable. Right, here we go. Detect climbable surface. Here we go. My condition is if move state is greater than 0, but also less than 3. Now I think move state is the input from the player. How far is the player requesting to move forward? And then I make a new condition which says, well, if our actual and speed is calculated based on how much distance are we actually moving in the world. So I basically say if we're not really going anywhere, I think that's too sensitive though. I don't think it should be greater than 0. I don't know though. I don't really know what it should be. Are we using text debug for anything right now? Mm-hmm. We don't have text. Yeah, the script is old. This is before text debug existed. It actually is as well. Are we not using UI? Holy fucking shit. You've got to be kidding me. Okay. What? Yeah, that's because fucking autocorrect again. Fuck you. No. Text. You piece of shit. Stop trying to guess me. Yeah. Actually, in order to test this really, I need to disable climbing, right? Kind of. There's nothing else to bump into other than fucking world geometry right now. Right, so we can see that our speed when walking goes up to 2. But we can, if we want to, walk as slow as like 0.2. Yeah, that's another problem. I mean, the game wasn't really designed to do that. We could design it to do that. Yeah, really, we should be more sophisticated about how we handle movement. Well, animations. Because if we're walking really slightly like that, we should probably be playing the animation slower. So we should probably take the speed of 2. Anyway, we'll do that later. Yeah, we should, but we're not. Okay, so basically walking speed is 2. Sprinting speed is like 5.5. Yeah, no, and move state basically is just a 1 or a 0. It's on or off. If it's basically, are we asking to move? Okay, so I guess move state does want to be greater than 0 then. Yeah, okay, so I think that condition is correct. Why don't I just say move state equals 1? Or did that change when I was sprinting? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because didn't I use move state? Yeah, move state I used as an integer that tells the animator what animation to play, I think. Did I really call that rare cast? So okay, like I can see where this is problematic, right? I think this is too high. But what I'm still confused about is, so let's say we set that to 0.3. But what I'm still confused about, right, is in those recent tests that I just did, and she was basically mounting the cliff before she even got to the cliff. Like, that condition there shouldn't be being met. Our speed. I mean, that number's way too low, to be completely honest. I think that number's way too low. If we walk at speed 2... Yeah, why have we set it so low? I don't understand how that's triggering. Oh, she's getting really confused. Wow. Yeah, we got a lot of things to fix here. How did she trigger there? And she's broken again. I do think that's better. Yeah, now she can walk forward a little bit when coming out of this. Before she actually mounts the cliff. She still seems to mount the cliff like... too far away from it. Like, look at how much she has to suck herself into the cliff. Like, she shouldn't have to do that. Like, I feel like I need a better transition between ground and climbing. It is better. That's definitely better. Okay, so now what happens if I turn gravity back on? Yeah, so let's say I want to cancel. Yeah, she still fucks up. It's so weird as well, right? I don't understand what's happening. She's playing her idle animation at an insane speed right now as well, which is kind of weird. I think what it might be is we tell it, okay, we tell it to start this as a core routine, right? So it happens on a separate thread. But what we don't really do is we don't really stop running through all the same conditions that we would be running through when climbing was still active. So essentially, we don't cancel climbing until all of the all of the transitional transforms are happening to move her away from the cliff, and it's turning gravity back on and all that shit. And so I think some of the mechanics for climbing are being applied even during that whole transitional phase, and then that's what's messing things up. Yeah, so what I should do then, let's see if this works. See if that works. Okay, so now we've stopped all of the normal climbing mechanics from doing what they do during the transitional end phase, which is something we had to do when we were climbing up the top of the cliff, actually, which is why that other bool exists. Now I don't want to use that bool because I don't really remember enough about it, so it's better just to make a new one, just to make sure they don't interfere with each other. Okay, that seemed to have fixed everything except the fact that now she's just not. Well, yeah, something. Okay, now something is causing her animation state to be stuck in climbing, which is kind of strange, right? Because we set her state is set to 16 as well. We do have a transition there as well, don't we? Yes. Yeah, no, everything isn't fixed. She's like really confused right now. Something's still trying to have a hold on her transforms. Climbing is still active. It never. What the fuck is going on? That doesn't make any sense. So we stop our climbing mechanics. This is so strange. It's so strange though. So when we cancel the climbing mechanics after activating this coroutine, We set our animation state to 16. Now it looked like that was working, right? But at the same time, the animator was being told by something else that we should be in the climbing animation. So if we get our animator here and keep an eye on the state should go to 16, which I think it does. But the animation is being overwritten by something else. Yeah, she is in state 16, but she's not playing state 16. So that's a bit weird. Because she's in state 16. It could be because climb motion is true. I bet that's it. Yeah. I bet that's it. Yeah, I bet that's it. How is that spelled? Small c, capital M. It's a bool. Okay, I bet that's it. Well, I don't think that's the only issue, but that would explain why that was happening. Yeah, climb motion was a bool. I think I needed that because other things were overriding. It was impossible to keep the climbing animation active using just states alone, so I had to create a bool for it, and then I've got a condition in there I think that says, look, if we have this bool set, make sure that make sure she's in climbing mode, because everything else was trying to stop it and get in the way. All right, let's try this now. That makes no sense. She's in state 16. She's in climbing. Climbing has a transition that doesn't have exit time between climbing and wall jump off, and the state should read 16. That makes no sense. That clearly shouldn't be happening. So why is it happening? Doesn't have exit time. That shouldn't be happening. Why is that happening? Everything. Why is it so broken? That's so fucking weird. It's so strange when you do something like that and you're like, okay, nothing that is happening is making any sense to me. It's like all we did is we told the main climbing system to ignore all of the climbing mechanics as soon as we start this thread of wall jump off, because essentially it should. We're no longer climbing. We literally cancelled climbing. And then all we're doing here is we're saying, okay, make sure the animation plays correctly, which it's not. But the state's correct, and climb motion is set to false. So those things are going to the animator successfully. And the animation has a transition for it. The climbing animation has a transition for it that says if we're in state 16, we need to play this animation, and it's just not doing it. It doesn't have exit time, so it should happen straight away. I just don't get it. That doesn't make any sense. And all of this only happens when we cancel you know what should be happening as well. I just realized that there's another transition we need. Probably the most logical transition is not to go from wall jump to idle, but it's actually to go from wall jump to falling. Which is actually falling is free fall equals true. It's not a state like everything else. Just to confuse me. I will give this one exit time because it's a short animation anyway, and then she'll jump into a fall. So exit time is actually probably fine there. Free fall is true. I mean, that's got nothing to do with why it's... That's got nothing to do with the issues that I'm having though. Like, that makes no fucking sense, to be honest. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. Let me just test it again. Why is it always like this? It's always something that feels like, oh yeah, that shouldn't take too long. Every time I've got to stop having that thought. It's almost like a curse, right? It's like as soon as my brain thinks, that shouldn't be too bad, compared to some of the other shit we've had to do. You know, this particular thing. Every time I have that thought in my head, and what is causing? I thought that fucking hang up. I need to find out what that is in the profile. If something's causing fucking hang ups in my game all of a sudden. State 16. Free fall true. Still stuck in the climb animation. Makes no fucking sense. Makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. Like the animator isn't even doing what it's supposed to do. But there's something really freaky going on here anyway. Because if you look at, like, free fall is like flickering on and off right now. She's not falling. She's on the fucking ground. Like, that makes no sense. And the main controller is right where she is, so it's not like they became separated somehow. This one is stumping me. It really, really is. I just don't know what's happening. It doesn't make any sense. What I'll do is I'll debug.log during this entire process the animation state details, because what the only thing I can think that could be happening, because just because we see something in the editor, it doesn't mean that's what's happening in real time. The only thing I can think of is something is interfering with the animator, and it's like it's constantly changing it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? The reason that doesn't make any sense, right, is if that was the case, it should just state whatever interfered with it, because we don't do this per frame. Do we? Actually, that's a good point. Do I know that for sure? I mean, maybe we were before. Maybe we actually were before, but we shouldn't be now. That's interesting. And the reason I say that is because, okay, maybe we were meeting the conditions to call this coroutine repeatedly. No, because no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. No, that's definitely bullshit. Because we only call this coroutine when the player presses circle. So that's not a condition that's being met. It's a button that's being pressed. So it's not like this condition is being like ran repeatedly, because sometimes that'll cause issues as well. So that's never been true. But yeah, this is so what I want to do now, and I already know what the answer is. It's not going to take me any further forward. I'm going to get the anim plate. I'm going to get the bool condition of free fall, because we care about that. I need to know what these are as well. I need to know the bool condition of am I in the wrong controller? Yeah, I am. Climb motion. Why won't it let me resize that son of a bitch? I need to get the state. I already know this is a giant waste of time. The reason I know it's a giant waste of time is because if it was being changed after our initial setting here, then it would just state that, right? If something else was coming along and saying, oh no, actually, I was told to set this to state 2, whatever, the climbing state, whatever, right? Then we'd see it in the editor, because this script, that these conditions are called once when the player presses circle. And the fact that they're in the editor to show that they were transmitted across, yet the animator refuses to play them, this is stumping the hell out of me. It doesn't make any sense. I'll probably restart the project in a second and see if it's some weird little Unity glitch, because it really isn't adding up. Yeah, and just as I expected, on every single frame, free fall is false, climb motion is false, state is 16. So already the transition should have begun for that animation. Yet what animation is it stuck in? The climbing animation. Does it have a transition to state 16? Yes. It just doesn't make any sense. And then eventually, after 3 frames, free falling becomes true, which is correct because we are now falling off the cliff. And it doesn't even play the falling animation. Curious though, if I set it up to do that, would it do that? Would it at least transition to falling? Well, let's restart the project first and see if it's a weird little Unity glitch, because things aren't adding up here at all. I swear this project is like double cursed. As soon as I start streaming, it's like there's a streamer curse or something. And then it's only cursed once at night when I'm not streaming, but it's still cursed. But it seems to be double cursed whenever I stream. At least nobody can accuse me of making game development look easy. Hello? Okay, now my controller's not working. Fuck. Okay, what the fuck is going on? Okay, now it's working. That was weird. I told you it's cursed. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but the animator's in state 0. Actually, I was on the wrong. I was on the wrong component. So no, it actually wasn't. It's still doing it. I can't make any sense of this. I can't make any sense of this. I mean, the animation not playing is the least of my problems right now. But it's something, it's something that doesn't make sense to me. So this is taking priority right now, because it's like, well, this is one of Unity's integrated systems that's not behaving the way it should, which indicates that like something is seriously wrong, right? Like me struggling to get the right code to do the right things is one thing, but when Unity's core systems are playing off, that's like something completely different. That needs my full undivided attention as far as I can tell. Like, I'm not missing anything as far as I can tell. There's no exit time. I mean, all I can think to do is to delete this transition. Wait, I think I know what it is. This is what happens when you experiment with new things that you've not done before. I think I know what it is. Yeah, I think I know what it is. Do you want to know what it is? Yeah, I think I know what it is. It just hit me what it could be, and I was like, what is it that made me think of it? Hang on a minute. What I need to know what it is that triggered the answer in my head. I thought about something to do with the animation speed, and then the thought entered my head that like, yeah, and that's another thing. Like these animations aren't even playing right now because they play based off the controller's input because that's how it works in Genshin. So I wanted it to work like that in my game, and it was funny when I set it up and I enjoyed it. And I've never done anything like that before. But yeah, then I realized, well, hang on a minute. If this animation is set at speed 0 right now, essentially the animator might consider that as a paused animation. And if an animation is paused, maybe it doesn't transition because it's paused. Now that does kind of make sense when I think about it. It's like, okay, if I suppose if the animator thinks the animation is paused, then it's going to probably wait until the animation is resumed before it starts that transition. So I think that's the problem. I think that's it. And because I've never done any speed driven animations before ever. This is the first one I've done it on. It never even occurred to me until just now that might be what's happening. But yeah, I think that's the answer because the animation is paused. It basically pauses so that if you stop moving the character while she's on a cliff, she doesn't just keep doing this because it just looks weird, right? And it's the same thing in Genshin. And I realized, oh, I can get the same effect that you get in Genshin by sending the speed of the inputs to the animator, which is what I do, which is how I suspect they did it in Genshin. The problem is, I think, that the animator considers that animation paused, so that's why it's not transitioning. Again, that's the least of my problems, right? That's not going to solve everything, sadly. Okay, I think that's what's happening. I bet this fixes it. So if we set the speed to 1 speed and then set the state to 16, hopefully that should make it start making sense again. Yeah, because I thought that's another thing I thought was weird, right? Is like, because I noticed that the animation in the other runs, like when it glitches out, like she gets stuck in the like she goes down and then she fucking teleports back up to the cliff, and she's doing her idle at a really fast speed, and I'm like, well, that's kind of fucking weird. Why is she doing that? And then I thought, even then, I thought, oh, it's probably related to the fact that when you're climbing on the cliff, the speed is passed to the animator based on player input. Yay! Okay, that actually looks fucking great now. Now she goes into a free fall as well. Yeah, it's still broken as hell. At least it looks better. At least it looks good while it's completely broken. Now the weird thing about this is, okay, free fall equals false and state equals 0. Oh, motherfucker, I'm in trouble now. My vape battery ran out this morning. Wow, these batteries don't last anywhere near as long as they used to. So now that my mouse is kind of broken, I'm using a USB mouse. Now that USB port is the port I normally use to charge my vapes. Oh no, this one's okay actually. Oh, maybe this was the one that was running out this morning. I was going to say the battery should last longer than that. It normally lasts almost a day and I have two. So like, it normally just means I just need to like, I need to have one fully charged to like finish off the rest of the day. It's like normally the last few hours of the day, and then the other one's charging ready for tomorrow. Yeah, that makes more sense. This one's like fully charged. I was going to say, I thought they were both dead then. Yeah, so this one now needs charging. I do have a USB port over it I can use though for my speaker. The one that was refusing to charge this morning. Anybody else sick of this song yet? Okay, that's charging. Took that up. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, I'll get there eventually. I can't believe how long this is taking though, just to cancel a climb. Like, I don't know why this is so fucking difficult for me to pull off. Right, it's still stuck in state 16, which is weird. And why is this still running? No wonder it's not working. This thing is still running. So it's... Okay, I do need to check something. Before we go any further. Is this coroutine being called more than once? I mean, there's no logical reason why it should be. Because me pressing circle activates it. Nothing else activates it. So it shouldn't be... But this debug.log is filling my debug window way longer than it should be. But also, why does that say, oh yeah, greater than? Yeah, because we say, well, greater than. Then we want to move towards the thing, right? So yeah, that does actually make sense. But maybe that number's too low. I don't know. I mean, it worked for climbing up, but maybe it's different for this one. Yeah, so the first thing I want to check is just to make sure. I mean, it shouldn't be... This shouldn't be fired more than once. If it is, it's going to be a huge problem. Let's go with routine. It's more like a routine. It's just a routine for Sadie Chan. I should call her... Oh, what if I call her Sadie Chan in the game? Because she's like the little Jackie Chan. Sadie Chan. For this day and age, I'll get accused of being fucking racist or something. Yeah, it's only called once. It never comes out of state 16 though. What the fuck is going on? Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what might be happening. So you know, because we turned gravity back on. Oh my god. Game development is hell. It really is. I just realized why this isn't ever ending. So that's hilarious. It's not really. It's actually depressing. But we can no, we can fix this. We just ignore the y-axis. So what we basically do, right, is we're on the cliff and we tell it to jump off. And what it does is it basically plots a virtual location over here away from the cliff, right? And says, until you are at this location here, keep moving towards that location here. But then we realized we needed to turn gravity on so she would actually fall down. But we're still saying this location up here above you, you know, like above where you fell, you need to be there and you better keep moving there on every single frame. And so the animation state isn't being reset, the destination is never being reached, and therefore the routine is never ending. So the way to fix this would be to create a new version of vector 3. See, we calculated distance. Now we can't. Oh, this is so fucking. This is so awful. It's easy if we have one axis, but we don't know which axis it's going to be because we don't know where the player was in the world. So we can't just say, oh, well, check the x-axis or check the z-axis because it could be either one of those. All we really want to do is say, okay, ignore the y-axis. Okay, this is a real fucking pain in the ass. Let's see if I can cheat. Okay, it likes that. We're also comparing player armature's transform position. So we're going to need a new vector 3, which is derived from player armature. I was going to call it ignore y. Ignore y equals player armature transform. Wait a minute, no, it doesn't. It equals a new vector 3 of player armature transform position x 0f player armature transform position z. That needs to constantly be updated on each frame, otherwise this won't work. And so does, after we've done our move, right? And so does destination. Wait, no, don't move destination. Do not move destination or it'll never fucking end. Yeah, as long as ignore y is updated, then we can say ignore y dot. It's not even a transform position anymore, is it? Yeah, this is a vector 3. So we can say ignore y to destination is greater than 0.1f. And that before was like something like 0.03, wasn't it? Which was great for the cliff climbing thing. And I changed it because I was worried that might have been causing a problem, but I don't think it was. I think it was 0.03. I can check though. Climb up. It was 0.05. So I'll set this one to the same. Okay. I think that will fix it, because what we're doing essentially is saying your destination, but ignore, like, in terms of the longitude and latitude, and ignore the fucking height, basically, because gravity is going to pull you down anyway. And so we can't really calculate that. I wouldn't even want to attempt it. Yay! Okay, she does a really weird thing where she... That's a weird animation. What animation is that? Oh, she's still playing wall jump off. She's also still in state 16, which is kind of weird. That went a lot better, though. She's still fucked, though. Yeah, she's at the end of a wall jump animation. All of her controls are fucked. She's still stuck in state 16. So I think this didn't work, to be honest. I don't really understand why that isn't working. Let's do this will let me see how long it's running for, and I think still eternally. And maybe this will give me an idea if the conditions are likely to ever be met. So tell me vector 3 distance of ignore y and destination on each frame. Fucking hell. And then you gotta love it when Pika shows up and he's like, oh, everything looks shit. Yeah, your character's glowing. Ah, your sea looks white. Ah, yeah, you're actually gonna add anything into this game, or you're just gonna leave it empty looking. And it's like, fuck it. Oh, by the way, Tower Fantasy has got a new pixel that you can gamble for with 60,000, million pulls. Okay, that's weird. I told her to cancel the climb and she shot up into the air. That was fucking weird. Okay, why the fuck did she do that? Okay, she's completely broken. Yeah, yeah. What can I say? Like, I'm fucking breaking my fucking... I'm basically dedicating an entire day of my life to try and get my fucking character to cancel out of a climb. Why is it behaving completely differently this time? She just bunny hopped her way up the cliff? What the fuck? Oh yeah, no, I suppose she would, because we told her. I can't win! Because we're not just using... So if we change... No, we need to say... Yeah, no, it's fine. Right, okay, no, it's not fine. Right, no, it is fine. It is fine. But what we're doing wrong, right? We don't want to use destination. What we want to do is we want, so don't make that a, yeah, call that a V destination, virtual destination. Yeah, no, I know what I've done wrong. Because we use destination to actually move the object, right? We still want to move the object where we move the object in the original script. That's correct. It's fine. Although again, no, because how the fuck are we? Oh, you know, it's fine because we'll say, yeah, no, it's fine because we'll say, okay, did you move? Yeah, no, this should work because we create a virtual destination and a virtual where we are that basically ignores the Y. And we basically just say, imagine Y is up here somewhere, right? Anywhere, imaginary space. But when we're doing our calculations to say keep moving the object, we're saying as long as the object is in line both left and right. So in other words, if you look up, the object's directly above you, then you can stop after that, because we'll never ever reach the destination because we can't possibly calculate the destination. There's gravity, there's too much shit involved, like, but we're trying to line up. All we're trying to do is push the fucking player back away from the wall, and this shows how hard it is to do something like that. It's not as simple as people might think, because where is backwards? It's all relative, you know what I mean? Backwards is, could be anywhere. You don't know where it is on the XYZ axis, and you got to do all this dynamically, so it's really difficult to do sometimes. So yeah, basically we need to update ignore Y, which is the player's position irrespective of the Y axis. And then similarly, we want to do this as well. I don't think we need to update that one. The destination is going to be exactly where it was. It's just that we decide to set Y at 0. So what we're doing is when we calculate where we are in relation to this, we imagine that we're at that height, and then we just give it our other coordinates, our other axes to do the calculation. And then when we do the distance calculation, eventually these should line up, so this loop ends because it's ignoring Y. But the reason she fucking bunny hopped away up the cliff is because we were using the destination vector 3 to do that calculation. And that's the same variable that's being used to actually physically move the object. So again, we were never reaching our destination. So yes, we do want to move towards actual destination, which is just backwards from wherever we were in steps. And we only stop when that backwards lines up with the backwards of the virtual object that's virtually floating above us. Yeah, I don't know what these, I don't know how that's going to affect the distance calculation. That's why I'm kind of worried about it. We'll see. Is she still stuck in that? Yeah, okay, so all right. She basically got, this distance is getting smaller, so that's a good sign. But the closest she ever got to her destination was 0.048, right? 0.048. And we say, okay, she probably could have got closer then, because to be fair, we must have come out of that loop. Why is she still... Yeah, that did stop then, didn't it? It did stop. It ended. I think it did end. But now I'm even more fucking confused, right? Because we successfully came out of that infinite loop. So we should have set the animation state back to 0. Because that's something that set climb end does. And yet she's still stuck in this weird animation state. So now I'm even more confused because, like, okay, every time I think, you know, every time I find a problem with this and I'm like, okay, let's fix this. Oh, there you go. Wow, she came out of it perfectly that time. Yeah, but last time she didn't. She was still stuck in a falling animation. Okay, that was perfect though. I also think she can come back off the cliff a little bit more because we don't know how high the cliff is either, do we? Like, if this was a really tall cliff. That's another good point, actually. Really, if I think about it, she should probably be pushing back away from the cliff. Relative to how far she's falling. Now, I'm not going to get into that because that's way too fucking much for me to handle. But really, she probably should, yeah. Because, like, let's say you want to make a cliff in the game, right? That's like, I don't know, whatever, 6 miles high. And then the player falls off it. What is causing these freezes? It only started doing that fucking yesterday. And at first I thought it was global illumination being calculated, but no, it's doing it regularly now. It's just another fucking problem I have to fix, isn't it? Yeah, it's working perfectly now. It's weird though, in that first test she fucked up. I think to be super safe though, yeah, that even looks good. Okay, so she can finally fucking cancel out of climbing. Okay, that actually works really well, actually. But just to be super, super safe, I'm going to say... Distance to move backwards is currently 1F. I'm going to set it to 1.3F. Okay, that does actually seem to be working fine now. Oh my god, what a fucking joke. Yeah, that's great. We're still not done. She still does this weird thing where she glides onto a cliff. Yeah, that seems very consistent as well. Okay, cliff climbing has never looked this good before. It's still not perfect. It's a fucking hell of a lot better than it was. Oh my god, it's so much better. She would have glitched up there before. Yeah, she's also not supposed to be able to sprint up a cliff like that. If you sprint and then go up the cliff, like, she fucking goes up at, like, speed of light. Which is kind of, I have to admit, it's fun. Okay, she can actually get up here, like, pretty much no problem. This is why I call her little Jackie Chan, because she's far too good at that. Or she is now. Now I've fixed some of her glitching. Fucking hell, she's even better. Yeah, okay, she seems to be able to get anywhere, no problem. My biggest issue now, but I think I genuinely need a break from this. My biggest issue now is if I glide onto the front of a cliff. Well, I can't use that as a waterfall on that one. Here we go. Ah, okay, she's not doing it now. Ooh, did we fix that? Okay, I think we fixed that by fixing our other bugs. She's not doing it now. So maybe, yeah, maybe that was one of my other bugs that was also causing that. Okay, she kind of autoed her way up that cliff, but it was hard to tell because it wasn't very far. Yeah, I let go of the control there. Now she is still kind of doing it at times. She's doing this weird. There's a few more other things I want to do as well. Like in Genshin, if you drop down like this and then you activate the glider, you get like a little boost up. Whereas mine, she just fucking keeps falling like a fucking sack of shit. Which is interesting because when I activate the glider, I do significantly reduce gravity. But I guess in Genshin they must be giving you like an actual reverse boost or something. Like you literally gain some height from doing that. If you activate the glider while falling, you get like a little, you almost boost up a little bit, I think. And that's something else I've been meaning to add, but yeah, I needed to get these problems fixed. Yeah, so she's doing it now. If I glide, she shouldn't do that. If I glide onto a cliff, I can let go and she'll autopilot her way up the cliff. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but she's not really supposed to do that. And I don't really know. I'm not even sure why she's doing it, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she's doing that. It's so strange. She's really not supposed to do that. Hey, I haven't seen a glitch climb for a while as well. Where she just climbs up fucking forever. Oh, climbing is so much better now. So it's been a painful day of bug fixing, but God, that was worth it. Yeah, just playing as her now, like it just feels so much better. Yeah, she's doing that autopilot climb thing though. Oh, interestingly, does she do it when you jump onto a cliff as well? Oh yeah, I suppose jumping is the same as gliding, right? Yeah, okay, she also does it if you jump onto gliding. That's really weird. I'm not sure why she's doing that. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Welcome aboard. Huh. So if I mount the cliff from the bottom, everything works as expected. I need to speed up shimmying though. Shimmying sideways takes forever. I have no idea why. That's something else I want to tweak. I think I really do need a break from the climbing now though. Yeah, she's acting so, she's so much better than she was. So much better. But there's still a lot of tweaking needs to be done. And then swimming's really cool. Let's do some swimming. Swimming's really cool. Yeah, swimming doesn't need much work actually. Swimming's pretty straightforward, and diving. Climbing was the biggest one. Gliding's it's always been pretty good. Gliding's pretty easy to do. Climbing's always been the big problem. Like climbing, oh my God. But it's much better now. So I'm confident it'll be good by the time I'm done with it. Like I'm confident I'll get there. I just dread to think of all the pain it's gonna cause me. Yeah, and I want to make it more visible down here. It's a little too dark down here, you know, you can't really see shit. And I'm not sure what I'm doing about stamina bars yet. Cause like I have to admit, like it's too much fun. Hello Lulu the Small, how are you? So like every time, like sometimes I'm playing as her, and I think, my God, I've got to make sure I nerf all these things. Like I'll leave them for now because like it's good for me testing stuff if I can get around pretty quickly and easily. But like, wow, I need to nerf some of these, like, you know, things that she can do. She's way too competent. But then I play like Genshin for a little bit, or Tower Fantasy, and then I kind of go, oh man, this feels so slow compared to like my game, because I've gotten so used to the speed of my game now. And then I think, well, maybe I should leave it as it is. Like maybe it's more fun like that. I think it probably is. I'm okay just planning on replacing my guitar, and I'm scrapping a game I was working on. How are you? Oh no, why are you scrapping the game? Well, yeah, God, I haven't played guitar in a long time. But that sounds like a good thing to do if you've well, I suppose it depends on what the reason is for scrapping the game, but it sounds like a good thing to do after doing game stuff, because it's like a different kind of vibe, isn't it? Which I imagine would be quite therapeutic after making a game. Going from something very system driven to something that's more about the feel of things, you know? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I've scrapped tons of games. Just normally I just lose interest, I think. I just lose the passion for it. Right, I need to find out what's causing these hangs, because that only started happening yesterday. Look, it's just done it again. What is causing that? I need to find out what's causing that. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, every now and again I'll find a weird cliff like this where she just doesn't want to do anything on it. But now I can jump off it. So that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, she can get around much better now. I lost one of my textures down here as well. I had a texture there and I've lost it. Oops. I'll get it back. Yeah, she's feeling a lot better to control. I think that's the most important thing as well. Like, if it doesn't feel fun to just run around and, I don't know, control the character, then I don't know, I think that's, yeah, I think you need to like try and tune it better if it doesn't feel fun. So yeah, like I keep thinking I should nerf her because she's just way too quick, or introduce stamina or something. But then, like, I'm not gonna lie, this feels great. Like, I should be sick to death of this at this point. I should be like, I'm so sick of this. But it's still kind of fun just gliding around like this. And then I'm like, maybe I should leave it as it is, because it is fun, and isn't that what I want? But then I sometimes think, yeah, but maybe it shouldn't be this easy to get around. Like, doesn't that take away some of the like the challenge? I suppose it depends what is your game meant to be doing, you know? ID was too big. Yeah, that sucks. Especially if it was a good idea. If it was a good idea, though, my advice, because what I can tell you, right, is this game that I'm working on now, I feel like this is the game I've always wanted to make all my life, but the idea just never came to me. And then sometimes it was due, well, it was due to several things. I would say the three biggest drawbacks was not having a good enough idea was definitely one. But even if I had the idea, I kind of didn't have the time to do it, or I maybe lacked some technical know-how. And then finally, like, all those three things just kind of lined up recently, and I was like, okay, wow, I can maybe actually, try and make a full game now. As long as I can, like, find the right idea. Originally, this wasn't even what this was. This was just me sort of like testing some tech things and trying to see if I could get some similar mechanics together as what's in Genshin. But then in doing this like little Genshin rip-off thing that I started out as me just experimenting in. Like, the idea came to me in this, and I was like, well, wait a minute. What if this was a Girl Scout, you know, trying to win a Girl Scout competition, which is what I'm going with. Game was affecting my sleep and my dreams. It was too noisy. It was too much. Oh, well, sorry to hear that. But, yeah, for me, I mean, for me, like, I'm a bit of a maniac. It's like, I don't really have a life. It's pretty true. Like, my life is games, and I guess it always has been for quite a while now. So I've always wanted, and I'm also a very creative person, so I've always wanted to pretty much like dedicate my life to making one specific game. But I also know what that entails, and I'm like, okay, I know that that is basically going to cost me my entire life for like at least a couple of years. And that's a huge sacrifice to make if it's not the right game, is basically what I've been aware of. It's like, okay, it would need to be a game that was worth doing that for. So like, yeah, there's been plenty of games that I've like sort of started dabbling in, and then I'm like, well, okay, this might be fun for a while, but it's never been worth making that kind of sacrifice for. But yeah, I think this one might be finally the one where I do feel that this is worth the sacrifice for, probably. I think if I can't make this one work, I probably never will make a game. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Right, it hasn't hitched for a while, so I don't know what's going on there. I need to have a look in Profiler, I guess. Yeah, I'm also getting some bugs back from my Sky changing system that I added yesterday. Actually, that is when it started hitching, to be honest. So I wonder if it's got something to do with that. My life is just animating the guitar, but when I was working on the game, I scrapped it, affected my dreams, and I saw my creations. Yeah. I mean, if you're like me, it sounds like you're a bit like me, where like you have to be creative, you know. I have this. I think there's like a creative energy. Like sometimes I'll start to go crazy if I don't do something with that creative energy, and sometimes it's just something as silly as like, I don't know, using these new AI image things. Although that turns into me like building my own model and stuff. So yeah, sometimes it's just something like that where it's just dabbling. Oh no, she climb glitched. Oh no, she hasn't done this in so long. Oh no. Okay, but that's related to. I think that's related to the one bug left that I still have to fix, where she's autopiloting. Yeah, because whatever's causing her to do this, she's not supposed to do this anyway. Like she's autopiloting. I really don't know why she's doing that. It's not that. Okay, that's even weirder. It's not even happening in the climbing script. Oh, that is so strange. That's even weirder. Okay, that's even weirder. So these two animations are driven by player input. The speed of these animation transitions. Oh, she just. Oh, that's weird. Wait, whoa, that's so strange. Now she's stood on nothing. Yeah, I suppose gravity's probably still turned off. Actually, she's still going up, I think. Yeah, she's slowly going up. Okay, so something is causing her to slowly ascend. But that animation glitch is even weirder that animation glitch happens, because that animation transition that was happening there between climb, left and right, the speed of that transition is basically fed by the left analog stick of the controller. which should have been which was at 0 then. So I don't understand how it was transitioning on its own like that. That's kind of weird. Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I need to look into that. Your movement speed is a bit fast. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm probably going to dial it down, to be honest. But it's just while I'm testing things now, it's kind of handy to be able to nip around quickly. I don't think it was that causing the hitching. Hmm. I don't know. We'll look into it. Probably I'm gonna leave it there for today. Though I need to get some food, and yeah, I got most of those bugs fixed, but I've still got that one where yeah, she's like autopiloting. I think that's what's causing that climb glitch as well, because it's similar behavior where she just seems to climb all the way up on her own, which is really weird. She's not supposed to do that. But it's quite easy to trigger. So I feel like it's probably quite easy. Like once I find out what's causing it, and then I can circumvent it. I think it'll solve that problem as well, because I think it's the same problem essentially. Yeah, it's just really strange because like she doesn't even have any geometry to climb up at that point, so I really don't know what's causing that. I mean, I can only assume it's something to do with the fact that there's no gravity and somehow like, but even if the physics system had given her momentum, eventually she should just stop when she runs out of momentum, even with no gravity, because she'll just slow down. She'll just lose momentum, and then she'll just like slow down to a stop. That's what should happen. So I can't think of anything that could be causing that, but I'm sure there'll be some weird reason for it. Unless maybe she's being stuck in the climb up transition loop. I guess that's possible. We need debugs. No, I think my debug logs are, yeah, these should be okay now. I don't need these right now. Not the other one. Yeah, I don't know, maybe, yeah, maybe it's somewhere in the climb up routine where it's maybe like looping through that. But if that was true, then when I disabled the climbing script, she should have stopped, but she doesn't. So that's what's even weirder about it. Yeah, I don't even think it was happening in the climbing script. My scrap game had to do with robotic angels, and I scrapped it because the idea was too big. Well, that sounds kind of interesting, actually. Robotic angels, I like that. It's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how old you are or anything, but I mean, my plans for making a big game, like we're talking like, oh my god, like I've been dabbling in making games, Jesus, since well, my first game I made, I was about 11. So God, you talking like 20 odd years, 30 years at this point. Um, but like not that I've always, like all the time I'm always making games, but like yeah, I'll go through like stages of my life where oh yeah, and then I started getting like kind of really deep into Unity, I would say only over the past maybe 10 to 12 years. Um so yeah, I mean I would say just don't forget that idea, and who knows, maybe you could collab with someone in the future or whatever if there's plenty of time in the future. Um because if it's a good idea, it's definitely worth hanging on to, at least the idea, so you could always maybe try it again at some point in the future. Yeah, so I need to figure out where that glitch is. I've still got to change underwater as well, make it look less dark, make it look a bit easier to see stuff. I need to back this up as well. Backed it up to the half the game was done. Oh my god, really? But I might just say as a guitarist, stay as a guitarist and join a band instead of being a game dev. Yeah. I mean, I've done all those things. So for me, like making a game, it's basically just like it's like a thing on my bucket list. Like I have made games, but they were very small. I made a little adventure game once when I was in college, and it was very, very small. It was pretty cool though. And then I made a couple of adventure games. Like I say, like the first one I made, I think it was like 11 or 12 or something on the Amiga. Um, and they ended up in like they used to have this thing called shareware, like public domain stuff. And I actually got my games added to like a shareware library through this official like magazine and stuff. So that was pretty cool, especially as like a 11, 12 year old. The game was buggy as hell and it was kind of crap, but I mean, it's still really hard to make a game, so I was still somewhat proud of it. And other than that, I've never really finished a game because they're just so freaking huge. So what I'll normally do is I'll normally flesh out a lot of the main systems or some big systems, and then I'll just kind of lose interest normally. I'll burn myself out and I'll just stop working on it. So I really hope I stick with this one. I think I might do though, because like I said, this feels like the game that I've always wanted to make. So the other games I've sort of dabbled in, I've always known, oh well, hang on, um, do I wanna do I want to dedicate as much time as I would need to finish this game? And by the time I'm asking myself that question, normally I'm sort of losing interest in it, and I realize, well, this isn't really the game I want to make. It's just, you know, there'll be a bit like if I'm going to dedicate that much of my life to something, like I'd need to be 100% sure that this was the one kind of thing. You know what I mean? That this was worth it. And yeah, this feels like it could be the one that's worth it. Because there was a lot of things I always wanted to do that I wasn't able to accomplish before, and these are now it's starting to look like these are all coming together. So I think this might be finally the one that's possible for me. But yeah, it's weird because like when it comes to like my passion and stuff, I don't really have much control over it. Some days I'll go from like obsessing over something like this. I'm obsessed with this right now, but I'll go from like obsessing over something like this, and then one day I'll just wake up and I'll be like, I don't really care about that anymore. I have no control over it. It's just the way I am. I've always been like that. I guess I just lose interest or whatever. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird because like you'd think you would have control over whether you decide to do something or not, but for me, passion's the main driver for that, and it's like I don't really control how I feel about stuff passionately. Like passion will just sometimes burn out of me, and I never just never get it back. And I don't know I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how to get it back. I don't have no control over it. So yeah, I'm just hoping that it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't burn out on this one, but we'll see, I guess. Like I say, I feel like I don't really have a whole lot of control over that aspect of things. But I have tons of great ideas for it, so I think it's probably worth seeing through. But my god, it is a grind. It's one hell of a grind trying to make a game. Trying to make a good game. Like I think anybody can make a game if you don't really care about quality and what it is and you just want to throw anything together. Um, but I think if you're obsessive and a bit of a perfectionist, which I am, and I don't know, you let the scope grow a bit too big. God, it's hard. Yeah, definitely. Very hard. Have you seen have you seen that new documentary on Psychonauts 2? My God, it's so long. I watched all of it though. Like they basically like filmed the whole production of Psychonauts 2 because it's Double Fine, and they started doing that with Broken Age, and it's like one of their backer rewards and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I put it on in the background while I was working on other stuff, and like, oh my God, every time I see a game deep in development like that, and I see a lot of the behind the scenes, I always think the same thing. I always think, Jesus, it's a miracle that any game ever gets finished, really. Like, the amount that goes into them is just insanity. It feels like it really takes a lot out of the people who make them as well. But yeah. But that kind of motivates me as well, like when I see stuff like that, because I think, well, it's not easy for anybody, even these professionals. So that makes me feel better about it, because then like when I'm banging my head against a brick wall, and I'm like, why is it so hard just to get this one thing to happen, and it's such a small thing out of a massive list of things. It's like, yeah, well, this is just the way it is. Like we've seen enough of this now, even in the professional industry, to know that this is just the way it is. Like it's just the way some of these things are. Like it's not meant to be easy. And I think that keeps me going, because it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not just that I'm useless or I'm unlucky or whatever, or I just don't understand enough. It's just that sometimes these things can get incredibly awkward and complicated and temperamental, and everything's like a house of cards that you're trying to balance. You move one card and the whole thing comes crashing down. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really don't think it is happening on the script at all, because I mean, can I get it to, because that would prove it, right? Surely. I wonder if I can get it to trigger on purpose. I know it tends to happen more if I'm doing this. Yeah, she's doing it now. Now, okay, she was still doing it, but she pulled herself up successfully. But yeah, whatever's causing that glitch is what's happening there even. Now that's hard for me to know whether so she shouldn't be moving on her own. Now it's hard for me to know whether whatever's pushing her up right now is caused by a specific script. Because I need those scripts to get her up the cliff in the first place, right? It was easier when she did it at the top of the map because she wasn't even really supposed to be there. So turning those scripts off then is like safer for me to do. Okay, try it up here. Because I no longer need them, I guess. She's doing it properly there. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where you want it to happen and it just won't happen. It just happen when you least expect it to. She's detecting the top. I knew it! I can't get it to do it now. But I want you to do it so I can find out what's causing it. To be fair, she's doing it a lot less than she was. But that's like, you know, hey, I'm a car manufacturer. You know what? Our cars blow up a lot less than they used to. You know, they used to blow up all the time. Now, you know, yeah, we might get a few blow up every year. I mean, I think you're still quite lucky, really. Yeah, it's not doing it because I want it to. Oh no, it won't do it now. So it's definitely not a common thing. She's doing everything she's supposed to do. Yep. She's being really well behaved right now. Damn it! I want you to misbehave. So I can punish you. I mean, fix you. This sounds even weird. She won't do it! Ah, you're so annoying! How am I supposed to fix it if I can't get it to happen? Yeah, I don't know, it's really weird. I mean, I know it used to happen quite regularly until I did my recent bug fixes. I thought it was completely gone. Obviously not, because it just did it recently, right? Yeah, she's not freaking doing it now. Look at how reliable she is. Yeah, so I think I can put on my brochure that my game only blows up, you know, maybe once in a while, not very often. Yeah, I can't get it to do it now. It's typical. It's typical. Oh! Yeah, but she's like, oh my god, she's so much better now. Climbing wise. So much better. I need to give it to speedrunners and then say, right, okay guys, I need you to figure out how to get her into this climbing glitch state for me. So I can try to circumvent it. I just put a little I'll put a little like, I don't know, super shortcut right up in the sky where they can glitch climb to it and then they'll figure it out. God bless those little speedrunners. Alright, I'm gonna leave it there because like I said, I need to get some food. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the state of things right now. there's still tons to do, and it's like, but yeah, just like running around with it right now, like it's amazing how different it feels just by fixing a few of those bugs, which were a pain to fix. I mean, what is it now? 3. Actually, today's been pretty productive. 3. That was 3 hours and 40 minutes, and that was like a couple of major climbing bugs addressed. And we added the ability to drop down. I still do think though, if I can figure out what's causing her to auto climb up the cliff when she jumps onto it, which she's not supposed to do, I do think it's the same thing that's causing the climbing glitch. I think it's a mixture of two things, right? I think it's a mixture of, it's like a perfect storm. I say that because it started raining. It's like the perfect storm. I think it's a mixture of her auto climbing up when she's not supposed to, and then also the ground detection system when she gets to the top to pull herself up failing to activate. Still doesn't really make sense though, because I'm like, well, there's no geometry for her to climb up. Because you may look at it and think, you know, I'm moving the character up a cliff, right, in my climbing system, and I'm actually not. The crazy thing about this climbing system is I don't really do any movement. That's all handled by the third person character controller. All we do is we turn gravity off. Okay, it's frozen again. All we do is we turn, and again, it always does it in a, yeah, it always does it in succession like that as well. I need to find out what's causing that. All we do is we turn gravity off, and we can increase the slope limit that she can walk up, and then we do some tricks like visual tricks. So you know, we'll like rotate her onto the cliff, and we go into a cliff climbing animation, and we do some clever things with directions and stuff to make it look good. But yeah, all of the actual transform movement of the object, of her actually going up, that's not my script at all. That's just the normal control system being told, hey, do you see this impossibly tall slope in front of you? I want you to walk up it. And that's what it's really doing. It's just that we go into a different animation state, and we kind of hug the wall, and we do all these clever things looking for ground at the top. So that's like even weirder that she would just glitch climb her way up, because there's no slope geometry for the third person controller to move her up. Do you know what I mean? So it's really strange. I really don't know what's happening there. Well, I'll figure it out. But yeah, that is very strange. Yeah, I can't get it to do it when I wanted to. But I think that's a testament. I mean, that feels good to me. Like I said, look at the water drip effect I've got on her now. So it was just raining, and she's just dripping some water. It's not perfect, but it's okay. We're getting there. But yeah, I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. But yeah, when I think about this morning, like, you know, if I was running around this map and climbing on every cliff edge, probably like 1 in 10 cliffs would result in either a glitch climb, or she'd get stuck, or you know, she'd get trapped or whatever, and there's just all kinds of issues. Whereas now, like, it's getting really difficult to actually get it to glitch at all. She's just way too reliable, which is a good thing. But yeah, the fact that it happened once very recently does concern me. It's still obviously not completely gone. but now it's kind of harder for me to trigger it to get some information about it. But I'm sure we haven't seen the last of it. Oh yeah, these curvy ones as well. Remember these? She used to really hate these. She couldn't handle these curved. Let me find a curvy bit. These curvy cliffs. She didn't give a fuck now. She's just straight up there. Yeah, like this, she would have really struggled with this because it's smooth at the top, and it's got like smoothness to it all around here. She would have really struggled with this before. Whereas now she seems fine. Yeah. Yeah, definitely so much better climbing system now. Difference is unreal. So yeah, I can feel good. Like that's one day, right? Because like I say, this game's going to take me fucking months, if not years. So if that's one day of little bug fixes or half a day, I can feel good about it because like, wow, it's actually quite significant. And it's not like there's any hurry to get any further with this, you know? We've got all the time in the world. What is it they say when people are complaining about game release delays? And there's somebody said something once, some famous game dev, I can't remember. And it was like, you know, a game that releases on time that's a bad game will always be a bad game. You know what I mean? But a game that's delayed and comes out really good, you know, is still a good game. So yeah. It's not like I have any publisher breathing down my neck or anything, or even anybody who wants to play the game at the moment. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I've said that 16 times at this point. All right, I'm seriously gonna go get some food. I will see you in the next one. Bye.